this point, the pressure has to be on the government MPs, because the opposition so far have indicated that you support this in order to make sure that this legislation actually passes. I mean, that's the legislative process. It means that the protests on Parliament Hill had an effect. It meant that people allowing their own stories to go on the front pages of the newspapers had an effect. It meant that Jackie Manish's long, very good series in the Globe and Mail that gave saturation media coverage to the issue has its effect. All of these things have brought us to this moment now. The solution lies in taking political action at this point. And at the provincial level, it seems that the provincial premiers and finance ministers have heard the call a bit more than the federal members. And what you see is that when they went to Whitehorse and they got all the finance ministers together, supposedly to talk about this, they came out of Whitehorse saying, we'll talk about it again in May. That was net new, what you got after December. And after that, it turns out, I think, that the provinces got a little bit weak-kneed about that because they had read the same research reports, including the very good one by Bob Baldwin, that said, there's a serious issue here. And so the provinces issued their own research paper and their own call out for action. And the importance of that is that they basically said the status quo is not an option. That's the first political statement that said that the status quo is not an option. The federal government says, oh, this is really difficult. The sum total of what Mr. Flaherty said today earlier, and we had a chance to ask him, was, so what are you going to do besides consult us to death, right? So where we are right now is consulting. So, of course, we're going to send in our recommendations. We will see what they have to say in May. But in the meantime, I think that each of you and your respective organizations has to insist on getting to those town halls and to those roundtables, which are by invitation only, so you have to get yourself an invitation. The key message for us here is that we need to have a collective voice to make sure the politicians know that we're serious, that we know what we're talking about. We don't need them to look down their noses at us and tell us we don't understand what the problem is. Let them ask the panelists who were here this morning whether or not they know what the problems are. We know exactly what the problems are. We have is trying to monitor this as much as possible. We're trying to build coalitions with the CLC and OFL, with all the people that I meet whenever I have a chance to, so that we make our voices unified and strong and consistent. Thank you very much for your time.